So you want to know how to shoot great firework photography. It's actually a little bit more difficult than it seems, and I'm going to give you some great tips and tricks now that will help you to get masterpiece images. The first thing you should do is scout your location. It's probably one of the most overlooked things. Find a good vantage point and try to include maybe historic buildings or landscape in your image. Anybody can take pictures of exploding fireworks anywhere in the world, but when you include the buildings or other landscapes, it definitely says this was taken in a particular place. Shooting fireworks is a lot like painting with light, except instead of using a flashlight or some other light source that you can control, you're going to use the fireworks as your light source. So what you want to do is to make sure that you have a tripod, get your camera on a tripod. You're going to want to use a very wide angle lens. I like 15 to 30 millimeters. You also want to use a very low ISO. Beginners will want to try to bump their ISO up, and you don't want to do that because you're going to get a lot of noise. And the reason why you don't need a high ISO is because fireworks are very bright in the first place. You're going to want to shoot in manual. If you're shooting in manual, you're going to be able to use slow shutter speeds and smaller apertures. Make sure you're using an aperture of f8 to f11, or maybe even smaller than that. What this is going to do is to ensure that you have a very thick depth of field where the fireworks are exploding, and it's going to give them sharpness. Now, you're going to have to play around with your camera settings a little bit to make sure that you get this right. Another thing that you're going to want to do is to use a timer. You don't want to shake the camera at all when you're doing these long exposures, because if you do, the landscape and the buildings or anything else, even the fireworks themselves, are going to be a little bit blurry. It's going to look bad. Probably one of the more advanced techniques is, if you can trigger your camera to shoot on bulb, is to get a piece of black foam or felt, maybe even a black t-shirt, and use this to cover your camera between firework explosions. And what this will allow you to do is to add many explosions onto one frame. So instead of getting a few explosions here and there, you can really fill your image up with just tons of explosions. And this is how the pros are doing it. They're just covering the lens between explosions, and they're pulling that black foam or that t-shirt down. So those are some really good tips on how to take great firework photography. I'm Michael Andrew, and I'm looking forward to seeing your images on my forum. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
If you found this video helpful, you may be interested in my new DVD, Advanced Photography Techniques, which contains over 3 hours of awesome tips and tricks that will help you take your game to the next level. It can be ordered from the following link.